Maybe I was born to retell stories. Since the beginning of my life, I remember being told stories. I remember listening to stories, stories that I naturally grew anxious to retell. I was told stories about how funny I was, about how dramatic I was, and about how since day one, I have loved sports more than anything else on this earth. I heard the stories over and over again, and sooner or later they became a part of me until I grew to be humorous. I grew to be dramatic, and I grew to be one of the biggest sports fanatics you'll ever know. However, there's one story I was never told. That's how I became a writer. I guess that maybe one day I grew so fixed in the idea of telling stories that I began aspiring to build a life out of it. If there is one thing I know from listening to stories from my family, from reading and from writing, it is that stories are what keep us sane. The thin line between imagination and reality, the depth of diving wholly into any one of the genres, is what brings sanity out of this sometimes horribly boring, this sometimes horribly stressing, and this sometimes horribly horrible life we live. But when it comes to the story of my life, it is complicated and full of incongruencies. It is wholly encompassed by the factional and fictional at the same time. I can admit that even as a writer, I still haven't learned how to retell the 6 trillion seconds of my 19 years of life. But then again, that is what a photo album is right for. 19 years, 19 photos. A simple retelling of my life.
I fly with the stars in the skies. I am no longer trying to survive. I believe that life is a prize, but to live doesn't mean you're alive. Don't worry about me and who I fire. I get what I desire, it's my empire. And yes, I call the shots, I am the umpire. I sprinkle holy water upon the vampire.